Hello guys and welcome. Today we have a retro review. This is the Hot Toys Christopher Reeves Superman. You know, a lot of people today would consider this a grail figure, myself included. This is just, Hot Toys at their best. And even though I think there are some minor setbacks, it's more the body underneath the actual suit that is the setback. But other than that, this is a great figure. And, a lot of people call it a grail. I would as well. And I don't think there is a problem in saying that this is a grail piece. Now, this was the deluxe edition. I've had this a while in my collection, so I don't really remember if the standard version came with one of the ice diorama bases, which is the Fortress of Solitude. I know for a fact that the deluxe came with the kryptonite necklace, but like I said, I don't know if the standard version came with that diorama base or you had to buy the deluxe to get it. I've obviously got two, and I'll get into that a bit later, but well, technically I got three. I got one kept up in the box that I bought with this figure, and I bought these two loose on eBay. And I'll get into that why I did that. But this is just a great piece for an ultimate Superman fan, especially if you love Chris Reeves' version. I have no idea what price point this figure is right now. I would assume a lot because they only made one from this movie. I know they made another one, which was part 3, I think, the Evil Superman. And I think that was darker colors with the blue and red. I don't know if the actual head sculpt was different between the two, but I do know the actual Superman suit was different coloring. But if you are if you're a massive Superman fan, this is the definitive figure to get. Obviously, we got Henry Cavill. Well, we did. I don't really know what's going on with him. But I think everyone would agree Christopher Reeves is the definitive Superman. And, I wouldn't have a problem with people saying that, because I tend to agree. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have him spin one more time, and we'll go up really close to the head sculpt, and we'll go from there. And here's the head sculpt. And, in my opinion, this has held up extremely well for its age as well. Like, this is a really, really old piece. And right about this era of Hot Toys is where I think they really elevated in head sculpt accuracies. Because if you've seen some of my other videos, I did the Alan Ripley custom and I showed the old head sculpt of that. And that was really, really lacking in detail. Yeah, that was a couple of years older than this, but it wasn't that far. If I remember right, it wasn't that far of a difference from that old Alan Ripley Sigourney Weaver head sculpt to this. But this is just insanely good for its age. And I've seen a lot of customs, And yeah, they look way better because obviously it's used with today's technology. But like I said, for this age, it's really good. You know, you got the classic S-curl for the fringe. Christopher Reeves also had like extremely, really vibrant blue eyes like that as well. You know, the skin texturing is great. And while I'm here, I'm gonna go down a bit to the neck. This is not the original body that this Superman came with. This is a world box body, so it's not ratcheted joints, but it's really, really tough joints, so it won't go loose. And you know, it hasn't gone loose in the years that I've had this. And the main reason I swapped the body is because the original Hot Toys body was starting to crack at the neck, and it just felt really, really gooey because it was made out of rubber instead of plastic. It just went really, really gooey. And because of this age, you know, it's an older figure, so that's to be expected with rubber materials. That's why I'm kind of against, well, not against, but I'm cautious when it comes to these rubber materials. Because, you know, when new figures get released, yeah, the rubber's nice and it looks realistic and it looks really good, but when you get something this age in the coming years, this is over 10 years old, right? So these new figures that have this rubber in 10 years time, it's gonna happen, like, you're gonna get the same result from this. You're gonna get gooey rubber, and there was also a paint peeling problem that I saw some people have. Dean Knight done a couple of good videos on his Superman, because his neck piece was just completely rotting. But, you know, regardless of that, this is still a fantastic figure. And if you have the expense to buy it, you know, it's not a really expensive body. It's fairly good priced. I would advise you to do that. And while I'm here, I'll go down a touch. I think a big issue that some people that have this figure were experiencing was the chest symbol was starting to peel, because this is rubber glued on top of this fabric, and you can see just here, I think that's a Hot Toy QC problem. Well, it's not really QC, I think it's just my one's unlucky to have, I think that's a bit of the adhesive glue that goes under this, and it's kind of stained a touch there. And, you know, I haven't, you know, you can get alcohol or nail polish remover and do it, but I've never, you know, it's never tempted me to do it. But going back to the chest emblem, a lot of people have experienced this completely peeling. And, you know, looking at my phone now and going really up close to it like I have now, it's actually starting to lose a bit of coloring on the black. Like, you can see it is something's starting to deteriorate. And I have seen a custom on eBay where they've torn this off and they've actually fabric stitched this whole chest emblem on. I don't even know if it's up on eBay for purchase anymore, but it's extremely expensive, so, you know, just be careful on that. It is a custom job. But again, for its age, this is still held up pretty well, especially in comparison to other figures that Hot Toys have released. But yeah, even if you go on this angle, you can see a lot of the black outline there is starting to go. Maybe if I go even closer, there you can kind of see it's starting to dim out a bit. It's just getting a touch bit faded. And I think you know, my weather conditions isn't too bad, so I think it won't progress worse. And for people that have this version of the figure, you would tell that there is a drastic difference in the body type. Like, let me go a bit back. It's not as bulky as the Hot Toys version. And, you know, the Hot Toys version was fine, the body underneath. But I think this look is a touch bit more accurate. Because Christopher Reeves was, don't get me wrong, he was massive for the role. But I think the main problem with having just fabric on a body, you're not going to get defined abdominals or the chest and the pecs like you would today with today's suits. So this is pretty much how Christopher Reeves looked in the movie. And for people that want to do the custom job, you basically have to carefully take the glue off the belt, take the belt off, take the trunks or whatever you want to call them, take them off. Something pretty interesting about this, the way they've constructed this, is the cape actually like has clamps at the back. And you know what, for the sake of explaining this, I will show you guys. Let me just turn the figure around. So I'm just holding the cape up. If you can see right under there, there's clamps. So basically you got to take them off and then zip the back there. And there you go, it's that easy to take the body out. And this is a wide cape, so this is really nice. And it's nice and fabric. I want to see, has this kind of deteriorated as well? It doesn't look like it, but you can see it's like creasing. It's starting to get a bit creased up around here. So that might be a future issue as well as the front. But while I'm here, I might as well show the actual back of the head sculpt. You know, and this is miles ahead compared to the Alan Ripley one I showed when it comes to the hair texturing and the skin texturing. Just the figure itself is you know, so much advanced in a couple of years. I can only imagine how more advanced it would be if they were to do a 2.0 or, you know, a re-release or reissue. So let me spin this back around and we'll continue. And I think this is a nice angle here that gets some movie comparisons and just, you know, photos of Christopher Reeves in the suit from the first movie. And yeah, I just love this figure. It's near a 10 out of 10. You know, I don't like to rate figures, but this is as close as a 10 as, you know, figures can get. And it's a shame that I got the actual art box in storage. You know, it's piled up with all the other Hot Toy collectibles I got and statues. The box is absolutely massive, you know, compared to standard Hot Toys figures boxes. If I can compare it to some new guys that probably don't have this figure or, you know, just don't know how big that box is, think of the Emperor Palpatine, or actually I got a better comparison because it's pretty much new. The Golden Armor Wonder Woman package, that art box is probably the same size as this. And I'll show a picture. The art box is pretty much the S chest emblem. So the box is shaped as that, and it's really, really nice. It's got a great little memorial part for Christopher Reeves on it. And it's really nice. It's a really nice tribute to Christopher Reeves' Superman. And like I said before, if you're a massive fan of this movie, like I am, you know, this is the definitive collection in 1/6 scale. And I think it's a good thing to add here that, you know, I kind of like apologize in advance because I'm not going to articulate him or move this figure, because I think this is, you know, us collectors, you know, find the pose, we keep it as it is, and you don't want to move basically this again, because you're going to lose this, and then you're always going to, you know, be upset that you're not going to recreate this pose. But what I will say is, a lot of the Spider-Man figures and a lot of the other Hot Toy figures that have that rubber, that really weird rubber vinyl material, have these clamps. And I would also be careful with this as well, because it's rubbing up on the fabric. And there's kind of a way I think I've gotten around to not have this damage to actual material. And what I'll do is, I'll pan down a touch. Now, because this is rubbing on this fabric here, and this can go with Spider-Man figures too, obviously gravity is going to pull this down, and that's going to rub, and that probably will tear if you're not careful. I think, like I said, with the Spider-Man figures, it's even more something to be cautious about. While here you can kind of get away with it because it is fabric, but I still want to, you know, be cautious when I do this. So what I'll do is, I'll turn this, and as you can see down here where the leg is, I've bent the spine so the weight of this leg hits the spine of the clamp. So basically, even if gravity naturally wants to pull this down, it's not going to go further than here, obviously, because I've kind of stopped it from sliding down the clamp. And I don't own any Spider-Man figures or any of those vinyl rubbery material figures, but I think if you can do this and do something to stop this from going down from gravity, I think you should be fine. Again, I don't own those figures to say, or, you know, to definitively say whether this is going to help it or not, but it has helped this. And, you know, if I can help someone or save someone from wrecking a figure, I would. And I also want to add here that this diamond style base, which I usually hate when Hot Toys release these diamond style massive oversized bases, this doesn't come with the figure. I've bought this secondhand because I didn't like the clear waist clamp that this figure came with, and you kind of plug it into the Portrait of Solitude base, and because it's a clear peg, and, you know, this is still heavy, it's weighted. Acrylic that thin is just going to snap after time, so I've completely stayed away with it, and I packed that back in the box and never used it. So this is just a regular eBay 1/6 scale diamond style base, and I've bought velvet with adhesive and put it on top, so this is all velvety. I usually hate these bases because they're too big, but if you've seen some of my other videos and you see the back of my D12 behind me, this is a standalone piece that I have in my D12 on one of the shelves. And because this is the only figure in that D12, I wanted to have it as, you know, a standout piece by itself without being cramped with all the, you know, multiple other figures, because it's so iconic. So it's kind of contradicting myself, but for something as classic and as iconic as this, I can excuse me buying such a big hefty base. And while I'm talking about bases, I'm actually going to throw the Portrait of Solitude ice base, and I'll explain why I've got two versions. So I'll go and do that right now. Now here's the base to the figure, and it's, like I said, for the age of this figure, it comes with so much great stuff. And if you have the exclusive version, it comes with, obviously, the kryptonite necklace that Lex basically put on Superman to try and kill him and drown him in that pool. And I have 2 of these. I'm not going to bring the other one because it's the exact same thing. It's just without the necklace, because that came with my figure. So what I basically did is I bought this on eBay secondhand with the other one I have. And a lot of people probably be asking why. These ice sculptures peg into the base. But the problem is the kind of engineering Hot Toys did with this. If you bumped this or even slightly tapped it like that, everything would have just toppled down because the plugging system wasn't really the best. So what I basically did was I bought 2 from eBay secondhand, and I've put just a touch of glue on the bottom of these pegs. So now they're completely in. You can rip them off still. It's not like I drowned them in glue where, you know, it's going to damage it. It's just a few, you know, little drops of glue. And that's why, you know, you can touch it and it's not all just completely going everywhere and falling apart. And the guy that sold me this had 2. And I said, you know what, I'll buy both of them. And they were really cheap as well, so it was a fairly good deal. And like I said, because I got that big diamond base, these go on top of the diamond base in my D12. And I've got this figure on its own shelf in my D12. So it stands out as a piece because it's got such a big diorama base. And at the same time, it's such a classic, iconic look. You know, it's classic Superman, so it's going to stand out. So I didn't want it cramped with other figures. And I'm so happy as a collector that Hot Toys are kind of going back to doing these type of elaborate bases, where they kind of stopped doing it. Where now we're getting stuff like the Robert Pattinson Batman, the Anne Hathaway, Selena Kyle, hopefully a Bane, maybe also a Joker. They've all got very, very nice bases and accessories, where I feel Hot Toys were lacking with diorama bases in the past years. But yeah, I'm really happy that they're going back into their original roots and doing these fantastic bases. And like I said before, I don't know, I don't remember if this came with the exclusive. I know the kryptonite piece wasn't exclusive. I'm just not too sure if this was part of that exclusive. So I don't really remember on that. Because I know in my box, I have the, you know, I've obviously got this as well. Because I got 3 technically. I've got one that hasn't been built up and it's still mint condition in the box where I haven't glued it. I know it's got a regular oval, you know, one of those regular oval stands. So I don't know if the regular just comes with that oval stand and Superman himself. Because it's been so long of having this figure, I don't really remember. But I'm sure people will know. And I might actually just research it after this video and edit it in to see if this came with any exclusive version. And there we have it. 1/6 scale Christopher Reeves by Hot Toys. One of their best figures. And I find it quite interesting that my last review was the Trick or Treat Studios Michael Myers. This movie and that movie both came out the same year, 78, so it was kind of a weird time for movies, I guess, back then, where you get this, probably the most iconic superhero movie of that time, and then Halloween, one of the most iconic horror movies of that time. But yeah, I'll say that's pretty much it for this video. I just wanted to show this because there hasn't been a lot of like Ultra HD 4K versions or, you know, better quality videos of this for a while. So I thought I might as well throw it up. You know, it's still worthy of a figure to review. It's much more worthy of a figure, in my opinion, for an updated review. So be on the lookout. I've also got custom reviews that I do. I do a lot of other reaction stuff as well, and just, you know, movie news and all that. I'll throw all those links in the description and all that. Hopefully my custom pieces come along, you know, bits and pieces, body types and all that, so I can start recording some customs I have in mind. But in the meantime, I might as well just, you know, bring out all these old classic Hot Toys and just do a little review on them in a better quality for all people to see. So if you guys did enjoy this, make sure you like, sub if you want to see more stuff like this, and, you know, various other stuff. I'll do a couple of other stuff as well. And that's pretty much it for today. I'll see you in the next video.